Cool.
Hello and welcome to DCP SideQuest episode number 22. 22 episodes down, guys.
Wow, really?
Or the beginning of the 22nd episode. Yeah. Whoa.
You sure you didn't like
fudge
miss
numbers?
10 or so?
Did I? Yeah, you know, you're right.
22.
Yeah.
I feel like we're on like 10 or 11.
Yeah, maybe 10 or 11, somewhere around there, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe it's the first episode. Who knows? Have we been here before?
First episode. It's the Twilight.
First
Who are
episode.
you guys?
Nice.
Why are you in my office?
I have no idea.
And who is this Anime Watts? All I see is
Anyway,
Anime Watts.
Watts is always here with the cutting edge news and information from the gaming world.
Excellent.
Ooh.
I like cutting edge news and information.
I heard, according to Twitter, we're not supposed to listen to people with anime profile pictures.
That's probably a good policy.
Oh no.
Oh, that's great. So something new for me this past week, guys. I've resisted the smartwatch stuff forever. I've been like, I don't need another device. Come on, that's great. What? Come on now. And I was originally going to switch from the Apple ecosystem to like Samsung or something like that. And then I did a full reversal.
You got deeper.
Full reversal. I got an iPhone 11, and then a week or two later, or like last week, I got an Apple Watch as well, a Series 5.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I'm not disappointed at all. It's
No,
exactly.
they're pretty fun, right?
Yeah.
It's good, right?
Well, like I've been getting more serious about tracking fitness and health and all that stuff, and want to like,
I think
We're
that's
old.
important.
Yeah.
Well, we also have a job that requires a lot of inactivity or,
Exactly.
or
Oh, man.
sedentary
Tell me about it.
behavior.
Yeah. And like the past year, I've been trying to focus more on like being aware of that, you know? And like the phone does that somewhat. It tracks your steps and all those things. But like the actual watch will tell you if you've been sitting too long. You'll be like, hey, it's time to get up, you know? And I'll be like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is time to get up. Let's go for a walk, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I've really been enjoying the Apple Watch, actually, surprisingly.
Yeah. Series 5, it's the big feature is it's got the screen that stays on all the time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yep. Toma
Okay.
has that
Oh,
one,
nice.
actually.
Yeah.
So how is that, and how's the battery life on that? Because that's the main complaint I've heard about the Series 5 owners. How's the battery life? How
I've
long does
had
that thing last?
No issue with the battery. I mean, it lasts a day easily. And also, I sleep with it
A
on.
full day.
Yeah, I sleep with it on to do sleep tracking too, because I want to like use those
Okay.
apps that track your sleep patterns and all that, because I'm curious about that. And I discovered that I'm generally getting less sleep than I should over the past few days. Like seeing that, I was like, oh, that's something that I could fix, actually. You know, be more cognizant of it and be like, need to make sure I get a full night's rest. But yeah,
Sleep, unlike exercise, is something that I feel like once you know about, it's very easy to change.
yeah.
Like it's literally just like, well, I'm gonna go to bed a little bit earlier, and I'm gonna try and not look at my phone while I'm in bed. Like it's really easy to change, assuming you don't have like a problem like insomnia or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So just seeing over the past, like the trend over the past few days, I only had one night where I got 8 hours of sleep in the past 5 days. And I was like, okay, I should fix that. You know?
Yeah.
I should start making changes in my life to make sure I get like a full night's rest consistently. You know, it's okay if it happens like once or twice a week or something where you lose some
Right.
sleep, you catch it up later. But like if you're consistently losing sleep, then like put the things in motion to fix that. So it's actually not designed technically to be worn to bed all the time because of the battery life. But I've found that I can just top it off, wear it, and then put it in theater mode, which shuts off the face and shuts off any notifications. And then it drains like maybe 8% of the battery by the time I wake up. So
That's not bad at all.
That's not bad
really.
at all. Yeah, and
So
track
when
my
do you charge it then? If you wear it overnight, when do you charge it?
just like at the end of the stream, take it off, charge it. It takes like
okay.
half hour to an hour at most to charge the watch.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I always do it when I take a shower. I put it on the charger when I take a shower, and that usually because I'm not in the shower for half an hour, but it's like
No,
half hour,
Briar's in there
45
drinking
minutes.
beer for half an hour.
Shower beer.
Well,
I
it
know
depends,
what's
it
going
depends on how many shower beers I have, I guess. It really depends on how long I'm in
Shower
there.
beer is important. Let's be honest.
But I find like from the time I take it off to the time I'm dressed and ready to put it back
Yeah.
on is usually a half hour, 45 minutes. It's usually pretty much topped off.
Basically tops up. Yeah, exactly. I will say, if the watch face didn't stay on all the time, I'd be bugged. I'd legit be like, ugh, I have to always my wrist to see information. Come on, damn. But like the fact that I can just glance over if I'm driving, I can be like just casually see data on there. I really like it, honestly. And I'm glad I waited because again, if I had to always flip my wrist around, I'd be annoyed about that. So
which watch face do you use?
I use the one that gives me information. Like I see so I have a little clock up in the upper left, and then I have basically 6 complications that I can show. One of them's a big strip.
Oh, that seems crowded. That's a lot of.
I like the info though. I'm like, it's 79 degrees outside right now. Okay, and then yeah.
Mine's super minimal. It's literally like time, date, and activity rings. That's it.
Oh,
mine's just the time. Well, you can't really. Sunrise and sunset.
Wow. Briar's trying to meditate on that watch.
There you go. He's like, when's the best time for or he's looking for golden hour for pictures.
Oh, golden hour is totally different for me. I guess some people take pictures.
So yeah, I've been really enjoying it, and also tracking the activity tracker, and Memes has one too. So we're in like a competition, and I'm like, I'm closing rings, and she's like, I did more, and I'm like, damn it, I need to do more. So that's been really cool.
I think that is actually important, is to actually try and join a group of people that are all tracking that together. Because you can compare it with your friends.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you updates directly on here.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's in the app, and then you can kind of like that competitive spirit, like helps you kind of motivate to fill up those rings. The rings are like, one is activity, one is exercise, and one is just standing up once an hour.
Yeah.
And if you fill each one gives you like a little firework like reward. If you fill all 3, it gives you a bigger firework reward.
Explosions
and then the next day it says, hey, by this time yesterday, you had already filled up 20% of your exercise ring. What you doing, lazy? You're like,
damn. Come to think of it, I have been lazy today. Wow. Thanks, Apple Watch.
But sometimes if you haven't done it, it's like super late at night. You're like, I'm about to go to bed in like half an hour. We're like, hey, a quick brisk 9-minute walk outside, or fill your rings. I'm like, I'm not going outside at like 10:30 at night just to fill our rings.
Yeah, but I have done it at like 5 o'clock before dinner.
Yeah,
I'll be like, oh man, I'm real close to filling out the exercise ring. If I like literally like a 10-minute walk around the neighborhood, and then like I'll feel that much better while I'm eating dinner.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's been really cool integrating that. And again, I never thought I'd ever actually want one of these, but once I started getting interested in the health features and tracking those data points in my life. You know, even though there's the idea of Big Brother taking all this data and doing God knows what with my data. My God, my heart rate data. It's been
Apple does seem like they're more responsible with that stuff than Google. You know, it's not their business plan. Their business plan is to sell hardware. Google's business plan is to sell data.
Yeah, they're a data company essentially. Yeah. So it's been good. I really like it. I'm very pleased with it.
Yeah.
Speaking of fitness. Wasn't there something else that was released this week for fitness, or last week?
There was. It also happens to be like tied to rings as well.
Rings?
Believe it or not. It is the Ring Fit. The Ring Con is the device, and the Ring Fit Adventure is the game.
Wow.
It's a new thing for Nintendo Switch. So this is kind of Switch's version of like the Wii Fit board. Obviously, it's not a board. So for anyone that kind of hasn't seen it, there's 2 components to it. You have a ring, which is this. On the top of it, there's like a section that you mount. You click one of the Joy-Cons into. And there's 2 kind of padded parts to the side. And the ring is very flexible. It's designed so you can squeeze it, you can pull it out, and you can kind of use it. So it's designed to sort of, allow you to do all the different motions with it. And the second part is there's a little leg strap, which the other Joy-Con goes into, so that can monitor your leg movement as well.
Nice.
And this is something, so I had a chance to test it out. It's now out officially. It's actually quite well priced for what it is. I mean, in the UK, it's about somewhere between, I can't remember exactly, I think it's like 60 to 80 pounds. So it's not, I suppose, dollar-wise.
That's not bad.
It's like, $60.
That's with the game?
Yeah, with the game. So game device, and obviously you need your
and
system
the game,
and your Joy-Cons and stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and when I first saw it, it's kind of one of those things where anytime Nintendo do their trailers, they always make them, obviously they want to sort of show the family and the fun around it. But the trailer did a really bad job of actually showing the effectiveness of the device, because basically it was just like people in a living room messing around doing some stupid stuff. Because obviously there's a fun component to it, right? Yeah, right. And you think to yourself, how good is it actually going to be? So when I had this event, I was like, I want to go and see, obviously I'm quite into fitness anyway, but I was like, I want to sort of genuinely get like a good idea to it. So I took my personal trainer with me to this event. I was like, we're going to test this out. He's not a huge gamer, but obviously he's training for like he's a level 4 strength and conditioning coach and stuff. So he's like, all right, we'll go along, have some fun.
Wait, there's levels?
Yeah, level 4. How high does it go
Is this
up?
an RPG? What the?
Is there like
He's
master
level
level?
4 strength and
that basically means he's raid ready. He can teach.
How many points spec in the biceps?
Too many. That's on weekly lockout right now. But he so he came along with me, and I mean, he even said at the end, he's like, you don't even need to be a trainer to realize that like the kind of workout you're getting from it. Obviously, like it's very much more so geared towards general activity at home, accessibility. You're obviously not going to use it if you want to train to be a power lifter or like a bodybuilder at the same time. But basically, the nice thing about it is that it's got for anyone that kind of wants to sort of start getting into it, it's very accessible. There's an actual overarching like game that runs through it. There's like this cheesy little story, this funny ring in this device, and you let this big demon free, and this demon is like this super strong guy who's like a massive bodybuilder, and obviously you need to defeat him. And to begin with, you're far too weak to do that, so you better go and train to get stronger. Okay. And then while you're playing through some of these games, like the tutorial ones, like you're running, so in order to move in the game, you have to be running on the spot. Then you'll get to parts where there'll be parts where like you need to collect coins. In order to do that, you have to squeeze the ring in or like pull it out. And to begin with, you can set the ring based on your strength level. So there's a part where you're calibrating it, where you like squeeze it in, and it will obviously monitor like how. I mean, it's not hard to squash the ring in too much. So obviously we put it to the max setting. But if you are just starting out, you might only do like a moderate squeeze. So that way it'll gauge things accordingly. So you can then, to a degree, even though it's one set ring, you think about yourself in a gym, you would obviously gauge things by different weighted dumbbells. But at home, you can still set the strength of the ring to a degree. But then, so you kind of get the basic things like just running on the spot and stuff. You can do that anywhere. But then you get to the point where you get into these little like Pokemon battles where you're fighting enemies, and then you use certain workout moves to do attacks.
Oh, that's amazing.
This one, it was brilliant, right? But this threw me off. Bear in mind, the day that I went to the day of the event, it was a Friday morning, and the event was in the afternoon, and I trained with my trainer every Friday. So we had a training session in the morning, like a normal training session, and then we went to this event, and I was like, it's not going to be that bad. I squatted in the morning, and then it was doing squats for the like in the Pokemon battle, and I do a lot of like typical like strength training. So my rep range is like 5 and 6, right? And I go to fight this enemy, and it's like, do a squat. So you hold down, you do like a body weight squat, and obviously because of the calibration, it will tell you if you're not squatting low enough. So it's nice that it's got those kind of cues to be like, no, you're not doing it right. And then I stood
squat,
up,
no attack.
I did like. Exactly right, but I stood up and it did 22 damage. This guy, I swear, this is like a level 1 mob. He must have been like a raid boss. His health bar was so big. I had to do 30 squats.
Oh Jesus!
To kill one enemy?
I can't do that, my friend.
No,
that's a lot.
It wasn't even to kill him. That was 30 squats to do half of his health bar.
No.
At that point, you then switch over, right? And it's like now you need to defend. So you go into like ab guard mode. So you have to like tense your abs. You hold the ring against the middle, and then you have to sort of like firm while it attacks you. And then it's like, right, now it's your attack phase again. Pick another exercise. And then I'm doing like overhead press or different things like that. Again, like doing 30 of those. And I'm just like,
Jesus.
This is like it was all condensed about like a 10-minute workout. But in that time, my heart rate was up. I was obviously already sweating, and that's obviously the most important thing when you get from the fitness stuff. Like it's getting people's heart rate up. It's getting people to kind of break a sweat. And because of the cues in the game, it can to a degree kind of guide you into sort of like making sure you're doing correct form. There's like a little person on screen that will demonstrate how to do the moves. So there's actually it was actually surprisingly very effective. But then if you want it to be something slightly more, and I think this is where people can actually like really get the most out of it, because there's 2 angles. You've got the gaming side of it, where you could get someone that you can just like let them have some fun and they're being active at the same time. But if you are, say, like my trainer was saying, like if you're, say, like a stay-at-home mum or like or someone that just wants to like use it,
or
like,
us.
I mean, or anything like
People
that.
who don't move.
Yeah. Or sometimes also like some gamers like they might want to start getting fit, but they're not necessarily too confident about like going to a gym. Like you can strip back the gaming stuff and you can be like, all right, like there's the kind of more so like movement focused stuff where it could be like, this works your abs, this works your delts, this works your biceps, this works different things, and you specifically select that, and it's be much more like a workout video. It'd be like, here's a workout move, do this, do these reps, and you basically strip back the whole gaming stuff, and it's just very serious workout stuff. So if you want that, you can do that. But then if you want to gamify it, there's also mini games. You can do things. You can kind of compete with people, and there's leaderboards. So there's a lot of actually, like, I was actually really, really impressed with it.
Interesting, huh?
This is actually making me want to get it.
I'm definitely curious.
I'm definitely getting this.
What did your level 4 trainer say about the exercise?
He was, yeah. I mean, that's the thing that he was most impressed about was because obviously, like when it comes to if it teaches you like a new thing before you go into any movement, it's like, all right, you know, for this one when you're going to be doing a squat, there's like a character on screen that shows you the movement, that shows you kind of performing the movement, so you can sort of try and mirror that. The fact that it reads what you're doing, and for example, like if you're not squatting low enough, or if it's asking you to do like a pause squat, for example, during the first part of the battle, they had to be pause squats. So you had to sit in the squat position for like 2 or 3 seconds before you stand up again.
Damn.
So you try and do, yeah. So you try and actually cross. It's like no, you have no attack. So it, through the game mechanism, it teaches you that, right? Which is the most important thing. That's kind of what a trainer does. Like if you're obviously going somewhere, they're trying to sort of guide you through it. Mm-hmm. So. I mean, admittedly, the game can't 100% watch you, so there's probably ways you can kind of cheat the system. But generally speaking, for what it offers you, he was really impressed with that. And also, because of the IR sensor on the Joy-Con, when you finish a workout, you can hold your thumb over the IR sensor on the ring, and it also measures your heart rate.
Oh, nice!
So you can at the end of it see calories burned, see your heart rate, and see kind of your progress.
Yeah, that's great.
That's really cool.
Is there any multiplayer?
So the only kind of there's not actually, unfortunately, there's no actual multiplayer. The only way that, for example, when we did it towards the end, I wanted to kind of do some like competitions between like me and the trainer, where we would just like pass the ring over. And some games don't even need the leg strap, so you could just literally just pass the ring and you do like a mini game, and you just start the mini game again and try and beat the score. That's kind of the extent of it. Or outside of that, there are of course leaderboards, so you can kind of that's the only way you're really going to be able to actually compete. At the moment, I don't know if they plan to change that, but but I guess they're kind of focusing it more so on like because the primary thing is fitness. They think you're going to be there using the device and then moving around from there.
Right. Yeah.
That sounds really interesting. That it's that good, and you can even though the gaming is kind of a secondary to it, it's really cool that you can play this game and do workouts to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really interested in it, actually.
Yeah, I genuinely think for people that want sort of like general fitness, like activity, you could literally like do a half an hour workout, run a few levels, or like do like 20 minutes of it each day, and it could kind of sort of be like a small condensed cardio part. But obviously because a lot of the different game modes are working different body parts as well, to a degree, it's like an all over body workout. You're doing some squats, you're doing like core work, you're doing like overhead, you're doing shoulder work. If you want to be slightly more specific, it's also got even things like when it comes to like isometric holds. So like some of the stuff when you're working out, instead of doing the whole movement, you just hold in a position, and that's obviously a part. Interestingly, that's also like a form of cardio, because obviously when you hold in a position and your body starts to fatigue, then that starts working the system as well. Mm-hmm. So there'll be ones where, in order to mirror that, there's one called like endless deltoids, where you basically had to pull the ring and you had to hold pulling it, and then the game mechanic is that there's a bomb, and if the ring starts to get smaller, the bomb timer goes down, so you need to basically hold it out to stop the bomb from blowing up. So at first you're holding it like really 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 well, but then as you start to fatigue, you go in, and then suddenly it starts you're like, oh no, and then because the warning of the game kicks in, you correct yourself and you're like, oh no, I've got to hold it, and then obviously because there's a meter going up the side, it's like you've held it for like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and you start seeing like you start fatiguing it like, I don't know, like 30 seconds, but you're like, oh no, I can just about make it to 40, so you kind of hold it a little bit longer. And then those sort of like gaming mechanics make you essentially extend the workout. Whereas like if you were to do it yourself normally, or you were at a gym, you might be like, you know what, I'm done with the rep. I'll put it down. I'll try again. Whereas when there's a kind of game component, you're like, oh no, wait, I can do this. I can keep going.
There's a
exactly. Yeah. That's what's really interesting, because for sure, when you start getting tired, you're like, okay, I've reached my tired point. I could probably go take a little bit of a break. But if you have something there kind of pushing you, I guess like instead of a trainer, you have a video game being like, come on, you're about to blow up. That's it's really cool.
30 squats though. It sounds like way too many.
I mean, to that point, if my trainer said do 30 squats, I'd be like, mate, go home.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's like a video game, like, well, I kind of have to now because I have to defeat this enemy.
The goblin is trying to kill me. I better do 30 squats.
I know, right?
Were there any like settings for like easy, hard, like
so the only way you can
fitness levels?
Yeah, so there definitely is a setting. Yeah, I think initially the way you set it is through the strength of the ring, because it will kind of like match that up as well. So when it comes to like calibrating, instead of like squeezing it all the way and you do sort of like a subtle squeeze, but there is apparently they put us on just like a kind of just general sort of normal mode, but there is kind of more intense mode if you want to.
I'm gonna run out and get this thing. This sounds like a ton of fun.
It sounds really cool.
Yeah,
for a month. Hey, that's a month of activity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
And I'll put high intensity interval training on my Apple Watch because technically it's interval training, right?
Yeah.
That's technically what it is, right? Yeah.
And that's out now, Eric's.
Yep, came out on Friday. So yeah, out now.
You also,
I was quite. Go on.
You also had a YouTube video that kind of showed the whole thing, and like, so if you're curious about what it looks like and what it shows, go to Eric's YouTube channel.
Yeah,
it's a longish video, right? 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
It is, but it's also kind of unfortunate because like it was long, but this is one of the fun things about working with like embargoes when you have content, right? It was like the video was allowed to go out the day before it came out, but it was only allowed to use. We recorded for a whole hour, and I was only allowed to use 5 minutes of gameplay footage.
Oh,
so I had this nice long video cut together. And I had to be ruthless, but then we kind of went through. But yeah, either way, it's decent enough. But I think the good thing about that video, it kind of sort of shows you going from like the initial calibration stages to like the beginning stuff, and then it starts showing you some of the fun stuff. So if you're unsure as to kind of what it's got, because that's one of the things that I wanted to sort of try and achieve with that video, because I realized that a lot of the videos that were going out, I mean, no disrespect to kind of anyone else that was sort of doing videos on it, but a lot of people, like, if they hadn't necessarily done that stuff before, it wasn't really showing like just how useful it could be. I wanted to make sure that if I was trying it, I was like, I want people to realize that the underlying purpose of this is fitness. Like, and if someone wants to use it for that reason, like, is it going to do that? And hopefully that's kind of what it conveyed. So
yeah, for sure.
That's cool.
Nintendo has a history of doing this. And it's kind of a fun thing to watch them do. They did the Wii balance board and they released Wii Fit. But they even like the cardboard stuff with the Labo. Is it Lab or Labo?
Oh yeah.
Like they kind of like do these like kind of weird side projects, and it's almost like they have like a side budget for. We know this isn't going to make anybody rich, but we're going to do it anyway because we think it's awesome. Like I like that about Nintendo. I like the whimsy of that kind of thing. Again, it's not going to make us rich, but we're going to do it anyway because maybe it helps people out. Maybe it improves the health of gamers.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah,
makes me feel good 100%. In a time when Blizzard is doing the opposite.
Yeah.
Blizzard now introduces the opinion extractor. Reduces opinions about foreign governments. All right. I think that's cool.
Makes you do 500 squats.
Yeah, 500 squats. I think that's cool. I want to get it.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm gonna run out tonight and get it.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about Control. Have you guys played Control?
I wanted
the game that came out
in
September. Right? It's kind of we talked a lot about this September was going to be crazy.
It was game temper.
And there's too many good games to come out. One of the ones that fell through the cracks for me was Control. It's a game that I've been looking at and like really kind of eyeing, thinking like this looks like it's right up my alley. It's made by Remedy. It's to describe the game, it's basically like a third-person action exploring game. The setup is, you kind of show up at this place called the Old House, and inside the Old House is the Bureau of Control, which is like, imagine if Fox Mulder from the X-Files got his own FBI and could do with that whatever he wanted with it. It'd be weird, right? And this is what the Bureau of Control is. Their whole goal is to investigate kind of paranormal activities on the planet. And they set up in this old house, which they didn't actually build. They don't know where it came from. And it's a funny thing because it's like this monolithic structure in New York that you can't find unless you're specifically looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the questions is, how did the main character find it? And the other question is, where did it come from? And it's the whole game is kind of like, it's a lot of questions like that. If you like things like Lost, or you like things like Twin Peaks, that are a little bit weird, but and there's a lot of mystery to it. And you're okay with it not being explained right away. It really kind of catches that kind of psychology. And the gameplay is pretty cool. It's you play this woman who just kind of shows up, and she's able to operate this weapon. It's a gun that can transform into other guns. So sometimes it can be like a shotgun, sometimes it could be a regular pistol, sometimes it could be a machine gun, sometimes it could be a grenade launcher. And I don't want to explain too much about the story because it's really kind of like the highlight of the game. But you're kind of brought into this world, and there's a lot of mystery to it right away. And you find out that you have these kind of powers, and those powers come out in combat. So you have telekinesis. You can basically pick stuff up and throw it at enemies. Other things that come along is, you'll eventually be able to like kind of gather all the stuff around you to make it into a shield so enemies can't shoot you, and other stuff kind of like that, which is super fun against like the peons that you're fighting. Once you get into like harder difficulty boss fights and stuff, it becomes a little less fun because it becomes more about just like being real slow and methodical and making sure you're protecting your health bar more than actually doing damage and having fun with the powers. And the combat is a little uneven too, because it's really fun when you're just beating up on shit and you're just like throwing chairs and you're throwing fire extinguishers at people. And at one point I threw a forklift at somebody and I was like, oh my God, I just threw a forklift at him. It was amazing. And that part of it is really fun and awesome. But like when you actually have to care, when you actually get to a difficult part, there's like a distraction where like sometimes it can take a really long time to grab something. Sometimes the targeting isn't exactly as accurate as you want it to be. And the feedback for when you're actually taking damage isn't super good.
Yeah,
and also,
I can agree with that.
There's like this red aesthetic to the enemies are called the Hiss, and they're basically the Hiss has come from another dimension, sort of ish, and it takes over like all the kind of agents in this agency. Like they're literally like possessing them, and when you come up against some really tough ones, like the whole area that you're in turns red, and all of a sudden it's very hard to see what's going on because there's only one color on the screen and it's red. So you're just looking for like light and dark, it's like, so it's the combat is a little hit or miss. It's super fun sometimes, but it's like when it needs to be awesome, it's not, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah,
but the story for me, it's really kept me going. If you're into like the X-Files or Lost or, some of those like weird TV shows where, the mysteries just kind of keep going and they're not necessarily explained right away. What's that?
Like Fringe, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, perfect example. Yeah. It's really fascinating. The story's well done. The voice acting is really good. Graphically, I think it's out of this world. I'm playing on a pretty high-end PC, and it does have ray tracing, which tanks the frame rate. So it's like it's hit or miss as
what was your average frame?
If you want to actually. On a 2080 Ti playing at 4K, I was lucky to be at 60 frames per second.
Interesting. So it was averaging like 40.
Lower 45. Than that, yeah. So what I ended up doing was limiting it to 30 frames per second and using a controller because I can't really use a mouse at low frame rates like that. Like I find it too jarring.
It's jarring, yeah.
But with a controller, I find it to be acceptable. So I just like hard capped it at 30, and then I turned off RTX or I turned off ray tracing, and I just played it at higher frame rates with a mouse, and I like the combat better with a mouse, so I ended up doing that. But yeah, it's a really interesting game, and it's a really fun game. Like if you are into that kind of aesthetic, and I am, it kind of like hits that, hits that bone correctly for me.
That's cool.
It almost reminds me of like visual. I can't remember the name of the game. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. There was a game that came out on 360. While ago, I think it began with like R. There's also a female protagonist, very similar kind of like setting. I need to try to remember this.
I don't know,
but yeah, but that I mean that kind of that sort of like theme. It definitely like it's a game that is definitely on my list. Like I didn't get to play it when it first came out, but I've heard visually looks amazing. I've heard like good things about it, so I definitely do need to go back and play it.
Yeah, I heard that the RTX is stunning. Obviously, you said it tanks the frames, but like the game is stunning with RTX on.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth checking out for sure.
I did hear that a lot of the side missions tend to be better than the main missions. So it's definitely worth going and getting all of the side missions.
You also get very well rewarded for doing side missions.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd agree they're better, but they're good. I find the main story to be really, I
think there was a giant boss in a side mission that was tucked away. I think that's the one that I heard about where they're like, this boss fight is amazing. It's like this giant, difficult boss. And that was a side mission. This was very interesting.
I find that the writing overall is very good. It's one of those games where you you come across an NPC and it's got options about like what questions you want to ask and like hear the answers to. And I find myself very intently listening and asking each question because I can't wait to hear the answers. Like, explain some of this because it's such an interesting world that they've built.
That's cool.
It's really a fun game.
Funnily enough, the game that I was trying to remember is called Remember Me.
How ironic!
That's like looking at that side by side with like Control. They've kind of got that similar sort of visual style. They're very sort of like techy and futuristic, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, this game is also real trippy because the old house that you're in, the geometry changes. Like the structure of the house actually changes as you're in it, and they call it a house, but it really feels like a cement like industrial building. So like, you know, like. It's really a cool looking game.
That's cool. Yeah, I'd like to play it sometime. I'm not sure when.
Yeah, it's on sale right now too for $45 on the Epic Store.
Nice. That's cool.
I think it's for their October sale.
Okay, yeah. This coming November, there's quite a bit that's dropping.
There is, yeah.
And obviously this week as well. But before we get into this week, what's dropping? Like November, we got Death Stranding. Are you guys gonna play Death Stranding?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm ready for a roller coaster ride.
There's a lot of people who are like, pass. And I'm like, this is going to be some crazy spectacle of like, just what?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the SideQuest episode afterwards where we're all like, so what happened in Death Stranding?
And we're like, I
have no idea.
You're like, how many parcels did you deliver? And was it haunted?
Like my only fear about that game is that it's mediocre. Like if it's, I want it to be at one end of the spectrum or the other. I want it to be like spectacularly good or just batshit crazy bad. You know what I mean? Like if it's just mediocre and like all this build up for something that's just like, it was okay.
Yeah.
You know?
But I don't think it's going to fail on giving you like a WTF moments like that. I think it's going to hit that pretty well.
It's already done that.
Right? Yeah. Just by the trailers, it's like, holy crap, what am I watching? You know, some like psychological horror, you know, sci-fi movie type of thing in a game. So I'm excited to experience that firsthand.
Maybe that's Kojima's secret plan all along, even with like Metal Gear. Maybe if you make your game so complicated, people can't dislike it because they don't understand it. And they're just like,
there's
maybe it's a bad game, but no, I just didn't get it.
The secret formula.
And if you don't get it, you're an uncultured swine. So everyone's like, oh yeah, you didn't understand. Wow.
Like,
I totally did.
It's great.
Kojima fans are kind of their own brand of crazy anyway. Like anybody who's been like anybody who's been like a solid Metal Gear fan for all these years and it can like follow that story's crazy too. Like with the Sons of Liberty and all that.
It is
like
a bit crazy.
Weird stuff. You know, it's just bizarre. So, you know, I'd imagine that we're going to go down that road again.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to see what happens with that. But I know a lot of people are like pumping the brakes, being like, yikes. Look at this slow gameplay. Yikes. Like, I loved Red Dead when it came out. I loved playing Red Dead 2. I played all the way through. And a lot of people said that was hot mediocre, you know? So if it ends up being an experiential game, I'm okay with that because I like experiential games where you're supposed to.
Yeah. It's like with Red Dead, did you want to be a cowboy? Then you'd enjoy being a cowboy. With Death Stranding, do you want to be a mail delivery baby carrier? There you go.
Maybe you didn't know you wanted to.
About it. What's it pay? Does it come with benefits?
Exactly.
You get good healthcare.
Yeah. To round out November, things that I'm excited about for November, Planet Zoo is coming out November 5th.
Oh, snap.
Is this the same people who made Planet Coaster?
Yes. Planet Zoo.
Yeah, that's
I'm looking forward to watching you stream this.
Planet Zoo is coming out. Also, we got the Jedi Fallen Order that's coming out.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
That actually looks... So they had a preview event recently, and I jumped up a video, and that actually caught me by surprise because the very first time we saw it at E3, I was like, it looks all right. But then the way they've described it, there's like so many different elements that that look really, really good. So suddenly I'm like, oh, I definitely want to play this now.
Yeah.
I've heard people saying it's like similar to a Dark Souls game, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
I think get that feeling from the trailer that they had from E3.
I think that takes elements. Like I know they have bonfires, for example, which is obviously a very Dark Soulsy thing. And I know that you can go around and like open up pathways after you get through a level, which is very Dark Souls.
There's some parts where you can
gameplay though.
Yeah, apparently there's some parts where you can like lose stuff upon death and you have to go back and get it, that kind of thing as well. But I think they sort of like the way the sort of IGN phrase, there's sort of elements from different parts. There's some Dark Souls parts like combat, but there's also like some Breath of the Wild parts like exploration and stuff.
Very
like
interesting.
some like Uncharted and Tomb Raidery ways to like when you're like traversing levels and stuff. It just looks quite fun.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, this is
That's
day one purchase for me. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be playing that. Yeah, and then obviously Doom Eternal got pushed, so I feel like that's
sad about it.
I know, sad about it, but they're gonna make it better. So I'm okay with them having more months to make the game fantastic. If it was just really good, and then they're like, let's make it fantastic, I'm okay with the 3 months.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's not it for November though. That's not it for November.
Oh,
don't forget,
of course,
Sword and Shield.
Pokemon.
It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait. It's gonna be great. Yeah,
I think it's gonna be good. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good time.
Bro, are you gonna play the Pokemans? Cat Quest 2.
No.
I think I'm gonna skip Pokemans. I am, yeah.
No,
I know.
Tefty has no emotional connection.
Do you not like fun?
I mean, it was fun catching a sand dick, and I was like, all right, well, we're good. You know?
I don't think that's
it's always fun catching a sand dick till you got to get shots the next day. You know what I'm saying?
Also, like the Malawan Takedown, I believe, comes out for Borderlands 3 in November, and like obviously things going on with Destiny in November. So I feel like that's going to be my schedule for November, and I'm just not a big Pokemon fan, honestly. Like I get the appeal, I understand the reason why you want to catch them all. Like I love the reason to catch them all. I'm all about catching them all, but it's just Pokemon. You know, it's cool. Not my thing though.
I really liked it when I was 12 years old. I thought it was fantastic.
Oh my gosh! All right, well let's not trigger all of our fans, and let's talk about what's coming this week.
This week we have The Outer Worlds. It's coming out on this Friday, October 25th. And
this
you can get it on PlayStation, Xbox, PC. But on PC, it's the Windows Store and Epic specifically.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can buy it on Epic, but if you have the Windows or you have the Xbox Game Pass, then it's included in the Game Pass. But I don't think you can buy it from the game store.
Right.
Which is weird, but awesome if you have the Game Pass.
At least, so a lot of games have been very confusing with their release schedules and all of that stuff and all the different versions of it. This one's super simple. It's just you can pre-order or you can buy the game. That's it.
Yeah. This game looks really cool. It's kind of, it looks like a Fallout light kind of thing where instead of this big open world, it's a more structured kind of experience where you play through kind of smaller areas and move from one area to the next. But apparently it's so different. And you can make such wildly different decisions in your playthrough that like you could play it and the next time make a couple of different decisions at the beginning and your whole playthrough feels different because like you go from being like a hero of the universe to nobody trusts you with a gun, you know?
Yep.
Like,
that sounds amazing.
Yeah, and it's made by the original devs of Fallout. So that's why you're probably seeing it and being like, oh, it looks very Fallout-y, because the original devs of Fallout, I think it was New Vegas. Oh yeah, Darth said in chat, New Vegas.
These guys made Fallout 1 and 2, and then they also made Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
Once
so it's Fallout in its prime is who these people are. And there's some really interesting things also with, because you can take a companion along with you. So say if you are all about guns blazing, you're just shooting everything, but you have a companion who's very good at talking, they can actually talk their way out of situations for you. So you can infiltrate a base, for example. Maybe you throw on someone's outfit to try and infiltrate a base and you get caught, but your charisma is very, very low, but your partner's is very high. They can be like, hey, look, you know, my friend is fine, it's cool. And then they'll be like, all right, we'll let you.
That's cool.
Obsidian, the guys who made this actually just got bought by Microsoft too. So I wonder if that has something to do with the fact that it got brought onto the Game Pass.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It was, this game was already in development and like the publishing deals were all done for it when they got bought. So their next project is going to be the one that is kind of paid for by Microsoft. But it was kind of interesting that like because it was kind of like a curveball that this thing got put on the Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. Interesting,
but an awesome curveball.
So this has kind of been, I've been hearing about it. It hasn't really been something that's been, oh man, I can't wait for Outer Worlds for me. But the more it gets closer and the more people talk about it, like that whole thing about your playthrough being drastically different from your beginning decisions makes me really excited about it. One concern though, I haven't really watched a lot of footage, but hearing that these guys made previous Fallouts, is the gunplay going to be like previous Fallouts? Does it look updated, the gunplay?
I was listening to a podcast and they kind of got like early access to the game. And this is a few months ago. And they said, yeah, it feels a little Fallout-y as far as the gunplay goes.
Little OG Fallout-y. Yeah.
That was months ago. There was a pre-production build. But these guys, like you say, don't have a history of making like, we're not talking about Doom here. We're talking about a game that is about a narrative.
Yeah.
You know, it's about a narrative and it's an RPG. You know, you build your character and apparently there's also like exotic weapons in the game. So they're called science weapons. And a lot of them you find through exploring the world. So you're not going to find them through just playing the main story. You're going to find them by going off the beaten path and finding those weapons. And there's really one that I heard that there's one gun that changes the shape of the enemy's face randomly. I was like,
fair enough.
Science.
Yes,
these guys know how to do humor in video games too.
They do.
Which, like to me, that's why it's almost a must buy. Like, no holds barred is because they have such a good track record of like. There's games that are trying to be funny and just aren't. You know, like they're just trying so damn hard. Borderlands 3. That they
I knew you were going to say it. I knew it.
They just go way overboard. But these guys, they've got this consistent track record of like knowing how to do just funny moments in video games, like very consistently. So it's, but also being able to tell a good story, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Yeah,
definitely. I'm interested to sort of see how it plays out because I'm definitely one of these people that doesn't like Fallout in the slightest. So for me, like if someone sort of tells me like, oh, it's like Fallout, but like that is not my kind of. But I did get a chance to see a demo at E3, and it definitely like I think just one of the things that I just liked about it straight off the bat was that it's actually got a like nice vibrant color palette. I just don't like. Fallout's always just bleak and grey and beige, and I'm just like, this is not my side. Like, I'm a Nintendo kid. I want bright colors. I want a nice world. So like, what I did see at the demo definitely looked interesting. I think kind of sort of like different kind of people. I've never really been. I appreciate that what they provide. I've never really been someone that's particularly drawn into like, oh, there's so many different like narrative options and all these different conversations. I'm like, I want my conversation to be given to me. I want to just read the conversation. I don't want to be like, oh damn, I angered this guy and now he won't let me get in the door to get the special science weapon. So now I'm gonna have to go and pickpocket his brother down the road to go and get. I don't have time for that. But I appreciate what that provides.
Or
so like,
save Scum.
True.
Scum, you know.
That too.
What I like about this type of RPG is that I really feel like it's an art. Like you're actually role playing. You know, you can play an idiot like who just makes all the worst decisions and pisses everybody in the universe off. Or you can try and be like a hero of the universe. You know, you can role play, not just by, clicking boxes and trying to like get the abilities you want, but not having any difference as far as the story goes. With what I think Obsidian is good at is actually letting you kind of discover, like, play a part in the story how you want to play it, as opposed to, so many role playing games are only role playing games because they let you customize your character as far as what he looks like in the abilities he has.
Right.
Whereas I feel like Obsidian does a good job in actually letting you role play an actual character, like
become a character. Yeah, that's fascinating.
Fallout New Vegas, I think, did that really well. I think Fallout 3 did it really well. Fallout 4 was
Fallout 4.
I'm definitely interested in it. It's an FPS. It's like you said, it looks vibrant. It doesn't have a dull palette at all. It actually looks living and thriving and colorful, and all the different weapons are exciting. They sound really funny. And the fact that you can spec your character in different ways, and that kind of changes how you go about getting into new areas and how you go about fighting and progressing through the story is very interesting. And also how you pick your companion affects how you go through the world. So Yeah, it sounds interesting to me. I also heard that the time to play, like the play time of this game, is between 10 and 40 hours.
Oh,
yeah.
Depending on how you play it. So if you just beeline right through the story, you're looking at 10 hours. If you do all the side quests and you're going off and exploring, you're looking at closer to 40.
Yeah.
Okay.
It probably also depends on if you prefer to solve problems by talking them out, you know, or just shooting everybody
yeah,
that stands in your way.
Yeah.
know?
Hitting them with the science gun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Have you guys seen the new Analogue Pocket?
No.
Yes. Looks amazing.
What is this actually?
Okay.
Tell
I
us
don't know what
about
this
it.
is.
All right. So Analogue, if you're not familiar with Analogue as a company, what they do is they create retro consoles. So they do it differently than other companies where they actually use a specific kind of processor called an FPGA, which is a programmable processor to basically simulate the hardware of older consoles.
Okay.
So you can buy a NES that's made by Analogue, and it doesn't look anything like an NES, but it performs exactly like an NES. There's no software emulation at all, which means there's no desync between the audio and the video. There's no input delay. There's none of the problems that come with software emulation. They tend to be fairly expensive though. A couple $100 to get yourself, a Nintendo or a Genesis, or they have a Super Nintendo.
How do you get games into it?
You buy cartridges.
Oh wow.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Wait,
so
so
they
it
actually
has an
have-
actual port for the cartridge?
Yeah, they have cartridge slots on them.
And this thing is called
They
a
also
Pocket?
have SD card readers.
Okay.
So this new one that they just announced is called the Analogue Pocket. So it's still going to have an FPGA in it.
Okay.
And it's going to be able to emulate. Hold on, I got the list here. Game Gear games, Neo Geo Pocket Color, Atari Lynx, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance. So 6 different consoles are going to be able. You're going to be able to play games through these. The Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy Color, out of the box, you're going to be able to use the cartridges for.
Okay.
The Lynx and the Game Gear and the Neo Geo Pocket Color, I believe you're going to have to buy an adapter for it separately.
Okay.
Okay.
The actual device is going to cost $200.
Ooh.
It's expensive.
That is a wee bit pricey.
What you get for these things now, Analogue has a pretty solid reputation of creating some pretty nice hardware.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You look them up and they do a nice job. But what you also get is a very high resolution color screen that's backlit. So if you want to play Game Boy games or Game Boy Advance games, this is by far the best portable option that you have.
Okay.
And Tefty, it's got a program on it, a audio workstation built in called the Nano Loop.
Nice.
It's a synthesizer and a sequencer designed for music creation and live performance.
Wow.
The chip guys, no way.
Wow.
Yeah. Another thing about Analogue is that because they have these FPGAs, it's programmable silicon is what it is, right? Is that they constantly update these things. So the functionality that it comes with, you can expect they expand upon. I don't know if this thing has an SD card slot. I can't find one in any of the pictures. Normally, yes, I think it does. I think I see it right there. HDMI input. It's got HDMI output as well. And the screen is 1600 by 1440 resolution.
Nice.
It looks really fucking good.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks so clean.
Looks really
if you're
nice.
into playing these old games, but still
well,
there's
if
lots
you
of
have
different
a
ways to
collection,
play these old games.
If you have a collection of these old games, then that's one
or
thing too, right?
if you want to start one, there's tons of these old retro game stores around now, and it's not an expensive hobby to go and buy a few Game Boy cartridges that you remember from your childhood. If you want to play Pokemon Red or Yellow,
no, I don't.
You can easily you can easily pick one up, a copy of that up for next to nothing, and bring it home, slide it into here, and then you have the option of playing on this really nice screen on the device itself, or plugging it into a TV. with HDMI.
It looks
really
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really like I'm really looking forward to this. Like I signed up to they have like you put your email address to get notified as soon as it goes on sale. It's coming in 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
And I'm definitely ordering this thing as soon as possible. The only question I have is what color I'm going to order it in.
What are the color
they
options,
both look really nice.
White and black.
That's a tough one, man. It says a lot, right? Mood, you know.
Could buy both.
True.
I think I'm gonna get the white because the problem with black electronics is I have too much black stuff around and it gets lost.
Oh yeah, so, just like you're wearing again your black shirt, Brian.
Yeah.
We're trying to spice it up here. What's going on?
Yeah.
Sometimes sometimes white tech, like after a little while, if you use it too much, though, starts to kind of, depending on how the quality of the build, sometimes starts to go yellow. Whereas like I feel like
color tinge.
My question for that one though is going to be whether it's also region free. I hope it is.
Right.
Because
I would imagine it is.
That would be actually really worth it.
Like I think about like every single time I go to like, I don't often buy them. Every time I go to Japan, like I'll always go to like the retro game stores anyway, and they've always just got like Game Boy cartridges and stuff, like old games in Japanese. And like I always think to myself, oh, maybe I'll buy one. If I actually have like an analog, I might actually start just like picking them up.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. Because there's so many games that never make it over here that if we could go, if we could have something like that, go back to the past and go pick up some of those games, that would be really cool. See, that's something that would actually make me buy it because that's a whole world of games that I never was able to play.
It's so much fun to go to like a retro game store and like actually I went today and I bought Rock and Roll Racing and I bought God damn it, what was the other game I bought? Oh, Aladdin for the Genesis.
Oh my god, Aladdin was so difficult.
Yes.
And amazing.
Yeah.
God, I love those toys.
And you know, I left there, I bought 2 games and I left there paying $22.
Nice.
For like and Aladdin was in its original box with manual.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah. The only problem is you run into a problem is like, where am I going to keep this stuff?
Yeah.
Like, am I going to be one of those guys that has like a classic game collection, like displayed on IKEA shelves?
Maybe.
I don't want to be that guy.
I like your game room. Your game room, you know?
I'm in my game room. It's only so big, man.
Ceiling, the like little rafter thing that comes down.
Yeah,
I like it.
Floorboards, a secret compartment in the floor.
It's your secret retro stash, man.
Like the thing is like when I see my like NES Zelda cart, like it fills me with joy. Like it legitimately does. I see that golden cartridge. And I'm like, oh my god! I remember being like just a wee lad playing that game.
Hell yeah! I forgot about the golden cartridge.
It's just something beautiful about it, or like, you know, just seeing my original Super Nintendo because it brings back the memories of sitting around that thing playing Street Fighter with my friends. You know, like, so it's always a weird thing. It's like it's so much easier to just download this stuff and play it on an emulator on a PC, and like you don't have to have physical space in your house for it. It's ostensibly free, but it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't bring the same joy as having feel. Like,
and it's totally worth it if you can look at something and feel genuine happiness and like, that's totally worth it. Anything to brighten up your day is always worth it.
Yeah,
it's also partly preserving a piece of gaming history if you are maintaining those cartridges. You know.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because at a certain point, that's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
There's even joy in that. It's like cleaning the little cartridge contacts with alcohol. You know, I don't know. Like this.
Briar, I think you should open up a video game museum.
I don't know. I feel like
be a curator.
That's something that other people could do much better than me who want to do it.
But I would love to see Briar the curator. So
weekly curation.
But yeah, this analog pocket looks really good. And like the Game Boy in particular is kind of a funny system. There's no perfect Game Boy. You know, you've got the original Game Boy that was the black and white, the thick boy, the brick. Then the Game Boy Color, you know, can play original Game Boy games and Game Boy Color games, but it doesn't have a backlit screen.
Yeah.
Then you can get the Game Boy Advance, which has some of them have a backlit screen. You got to buy the SP, I think, to get the backlit screen, but you lose original Game Boy support with that.
I think so. Yeah.
So like, there's no one perfect Game Boy.
Yeah.
Until now.
Perfect Game Boy.
And it's only $200.
The Analogue Pocket.
Yeah. And the thing looks really sexy too. It really evokes the design of the original Game Boy.
Uh-huh.
But it's obviously thin and modern looking, but it's even got like the ribs on the back.
That's cool, yeah. Yeah.
For fingertips.
Yeah, anybody who's interested in just product design, if you go to check out that, like if you're not interested in the Analogue Pocket, totally get that. But if you look at their whole product pitch and how it looks, it's very nice looking.
Yeah. Like
I was so disappointed by seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the Super NT or the NT Mini, like the NT Mini to me, it doesn't look anything like an NES, but it's just a kind of a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks nice.
Yeah,
very cool. Yeah, I'll put it on the list. I might
put it on my old Christmas list.
Yeah, you know that analog. The digital audio workstation synthesizer type of thing definitely interests me as well.
Yeah, what was that thing? I can't remember the name of the thing that you were playing with when we were at PAX.
The OPZ. Yeah,
the OPZ.
The OPZ is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, that thing was just fun.
A little pocket synthesizer that has 16 tracks and do video manipulation and all that. That's great. Make full tracks out of it.
It's really cool.
Teenage Engineering OPZ. That's what it was.
I forgot to say too, is it's Bluetooth compatible, so you can use like the old, you can use like 8-bit Do's,
that's
kind of retro
deal.
style.
Nice. Yeah, that's a big
controllers.
Deal. That's awesome.
Also, shout out to 8-bit Do who makes amazing like old school controllers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like these things are stupendous with the analog sticks and everything. Like it's outstanding. This works for the Nintendo Switch, computers, PC. I think you can make it work with. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not sure if you can make it work with PlayStation. These things are awesome though. They're like $30.
That's cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about that I believe is happening is the Anthem Halloween event.
Anthem's got a Halloween event. Something about the bombs and stuff.
I hear Tefty has had quite a bit of fun.
Yeah,
with this.
Had no idea. This is sudden surprise. I haven't played it or anything like that.
Do you want to let us in on your inside?
Yeah, what's going on with the Anthem?
With your channel?
There's nothing really. It's more of a meme that's been born of the 80s lovable alien Alf happens to be alive and loves Anthem and Gambit.
Anthem and Gambit, because they're the same.
He's a huge fan of Anthem and a huge fan of Gambit. Plays them regularly. So yeah, just I didn't know that there was a Halloween event going on because obviously Anthem has had some troubled times, to say the least, at the moment.
Yeah, I didn't actually realize it was a Halloween themed event, but I saw some talk recently of them like they're doing like a new event, the Season of Skulls. But the interesting thing, the one thing that like almost made me want to go back just for one very simple reason is like I remember saying right when the game launched, I was like, I wish there was like, because you know how a lot of the armor sets were quite, they weren't like crazily different to a lot of the other ones.
Yeah.
I always thought to myself, I wish they had the kind of Monster Hunter angle where like you could have a full like bone covered Colossus, right? And there's a screenshot of a Ranger covered with bone armor. And I was like, I really I really want that. And I'm like, I know the game is still not fixed, but I'm like, there might come a time in the future. Like, let's just say fast forward to 2020, and then they do like a special like Destiny Taken King thing, and Anthem comes back, and it's like, whoa! And then suddenly I'll be kicking myself because there'll be the guys that have stuck with it no matter what, who have got the skull armor.
Specifically, Alf.
Man, I want that. So I'm almost tempted to be like, maybe I should just sneak back in just to get the armor, just in case.
I think I'm like that with a lot of games, actually. Like when something comes out that I really like the look of, I'm like, oh, I don't play this game, but I might later. And I don't want to be one of the left out kids who doesn't have the cool armor.
I know that bone armor looks like really good.
It does look good.
Really good. Yeah. I saw
it. The exact same thing with the.
My question is the only way to get that bone armor to pay for it in the Anthem store, or can I get it by playing the game?
I believe you earn it as part of the season. I believe. But I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's earnable. Yeah, it's a thing. Again, they have like this event, and you go get the bone armor. I believe that's like the big draw, and it looks awesome. It looks really good.
It does look really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does draw me back into a lot of things. Like it was the same with like when Fortnite came out. I've still to this day never. I mean, apart from the PvE version, I've never played a game of Fortnite Battle Royale. But I downloaded it so that I could buy the Wukong skin because I like Wukong. In the event that I went to play it, and then I subsequently deleted it afterwards. So I have still not played a single.
But you have the skin ready to go when it turns into a Japanese RPG, which it will.
When Fortnite becomes big and popular, you know, eventually, like maybe then I might go
when
back
it hits its stride,
you know,
right?
Yeah. You know, once people know about it on Twitch and stuff, maybe I might go and log back in and play Wukong. But that's not going to happen.
Exactly. When I'm at Walgreens and I see some trading cards of Fortnite, then I'll know it's hit mainstream, right?
Exactly right.
I think you guys might be a little off on this one.
Did you know you can now buy as well on Amazon? There's a Halloween costume. You can buy a ninja headband with blue hair.
Oh, nice! You can be ninja.
Really?
Ninja
if any kid turns up at my house with that, I'll give him candy because I don't want to make.
It's gonna be great.
I remember. I was with my my mother. We were buying a a box fan at Walmart, and I remember the first time I saw a ninja poster at Walmart. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah,
that's a mainstream appeal when your poster is at Walmart.
Yep,
I was really
next
impressed
to Jake
by that.
Paul, which is
I didn't see his poster.
I saw his poster at Toys R Us actually.
Didn't they shut down
That's
Toys R Us?
Disturbing to me. Yeah, right.
Well, that's why I was there. They were closing down
Not
Toys R Us,
related.
and I was like, let's go check out the toy deals. And then
they were having a store liquidation, and it happens to be Jake Paul poster
I can buy
in
this
there.
poster for $2.
Suddenly things start adding up. It's like little numbers floating around.
Oh man.
I was at GameStop and I was having a similar experience. I'm like, remember when GameStop used to be all about games, and now it's just filled wall to wall with like mugs and Funko Pops and like
it's accessories,
t-shirts. Yeah, there's very, very little like gaming stuff in there. I was like, God, if you wanted to turn this place around, like there's just seems like so many ways to turn that place around without just becoming a trash store. You know, like it's like Spencer's now. You know, it's just like filled with junk.
Well,
I mean, it's called GameStop, right? So maybe they stopped selling games.
Yeah,
it's
it does
prophetic.
seem like they're on their way.
Interesting.
There we go.
You know, like they did have like a very small PC gaming section. Like it had a couple of Razer keyboards and, you know, I think like a Corsair headset or something. Like, what if they leaned back into that? Like Babbage's used to sell a lot of computer stuff back in the day. They could lean back into the PC gaming side of things. A lot of people don't have like stores that sell PC hardware near them.
It's true. Yeah, that would actually be a great angle, honestly.
That's true.
And it would stick with the whole GameStop type of thing because most things are going digital nowadays. So you don't really, you know, you don't have to go to a midnight release anymore for these games. I mean, you can for the community side of things. Some of the stores have community events with that, but like a lot of people want to just get home right away and play.
Yeah.
There is like a market for the people who want physical copies of games. Like I remember Hollow Knight got a physical copy and people were really excited. It came out a year after the game came out though. You know, like
I bought that.
A lot of these digital only releases, like Cuphead, I think got a physical release.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they leaned into stuff like that. GameStop makes me sad.
So the market is definitely there to want to own physical items, just like with music, like cassettes and vinyl and all that. People want to buy that stuff. The problem is GameStop is a corporate owned, you know, it's a corporation designed to squeeze every dollar possible for their futures to say that they're growing constantly. And, you know, it's like what Goodbite said in chat about how like you basically buy a used game at GameStop, you can go get it cheaper at Best Buy, new most of the time.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem is that they're just trying to milk as much as possible out of these used games.
And they've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
So people know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, like
they have a reputation now. It's like, well, you go to GameStop, they're going to give you like 2 pennies for your game if you try to sell it to them.
Turn around and sell it for $59.95.
Yeah. Like that's the stigma that they have. As opposed to being like the premier place to go and get your gaming swag and to hang out and talk games and all that. Even though it is a good place to hang out and talk games, but
They should turn it into a cafe.
Yeah.
Where you can play games and meet up with gamers.
Yo, Capital One has
Why
a
they're not
cafe.
doing cafes?
Brian, remember we went to the Capital One cafe in Seattle?
That was fucking weird, man.
I was like, can I get a refi?
It was a coffee shop.
Yeah.
But it was also a place you could get a new mortgage from Capital One.
Yeah,
or a new credit card. It was like Capital One. It was really weird.
Yeah. So
Like, how did
GameStop could do
we're
that.
in the middle of Seattle. How do we go to Capital One to get coffee?
It was the closest place in Bellevue.
I don't know how you guys even turned up there.
It was right around the corner from the hotel. We were like, yeah, let's go to the coffee shop right here. And I was like, Capital One? I thought these things were a joke on the commercials. No way.
It was really weird.
So
it was good coffee though.
GameStop should do that. They should make a cafe,
right? And sign you up for a credit card
at the same time.
Credit card.
Perfect.
Maybe they can offer mortgages for when the new consoles come out.
Yes,
because they're going to be expensive.
There you go.
You're going to need a mortgage for your new console. And your
Have
PC
we talked
too.
about? We did last week. We talked about the PlayStation 5, right? What do you guys think that the next round of consoles is going to cost?
I feel like it has to stay
$599 US.
You think 600? Yeah,
I could see.
I reckon possibly. Yeah. I mean, I was using that more so because the old PlayStation meme from back in the day.
$599.
What was it? Yeah. But I think they're going to be quite pricey. I mean, some people are sort of been throwing around like even higher price tags, but I feel like it's a difficult thing because obviously they're powerful, so they're not going to be cheap.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't afford to make them too expensive because when you think about it, for a lot of people, obviously, you know, if you work yourself, you can buy it. That's cool, you know. But when you think about, I imagine that the majority of the market is, Mom, Dad, can I have this console? If they're like, what, for £800? Like, no way.
Yeah.
So I feel like they have to have them. You know, they're going to try and make it as affordable as possible, but it's not going to be cheap.
I mean, they're still selling the One X and the PS4 Pro for $400 and $500, right?
True.
I think it's going to be a really tough swing if it's anything above 600. Like 600 is already just like
even
you said,
600.
600 is
it's a lot
pricey.
of money. You can get like a decent gaming PC for 600, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you build your own,
Yeah, that's a tough sell. I feel like it's going to go the direction of how mobile phones are sold, to where they like, you know, you set up a plan at a place like GameStop or something.
Yeah.
And they end up splitting it over 2 years for these things because they're getting to the point.
They did that for the Xbox 360 at one point.
Did they?
You could go and sign up for Xbox Live for a 2-year plan and they give you a free Xbox 360.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. But the Xbox 360, I mean, at one point was $150.
Right.
The PS4, well, I don't know. PS4 and Xbox One S, how much are those going for now?
I feel like 250.
Still that much?
200, 250, yeah.
Like this generation never had that like major price drop.
Not really.
The mid-cycle refresh.
Yeah. Kind of makes you wonder if there's going to be like well, no, they're probably going to split it off to where there's only PS5 games and no backwards compatibility with, you know, like a low graphical version that you could still put on a PS4.
I can see Microsoft doing that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I could see Microsoft doing that, yeah.
You know, you buy the game, and it doesn't matter if you own an Xbox One or an Xbox 2, you're still going to be able to play the game. It's just going to be a quality, quality of the graphics kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some games won't be able to do it because they just physically won't be able to run on hardware. But like if you buy the latest Call of Duty on your Xbox One and then buy an Xbox 2 a year down the road, I bet you'll still be able to play that game on the Xbox 2.
Yeah. So historically, they've always taken a loss on these consoles when they launch them. And
some do, some don't.
Yeah. Well, I feel like
it depends.
I feel like in order for this to work and for the market not to just kind of have a huge problem, they're going to have to take a loss on these to get them out the door and get people going with them and make their profit back on those subscriptions. Right?
Maybe. I don't know how long they can continue to sell those subscriptions, though. I mean, like, I feel like that alone, if you do the math on the subscriptions, like the Xbox Live or the PS Plus subscription, that alone could send you over to PC, which Microsoft is fine with, but PlayStation, not fine with.
Yeah, but there's still a huge market of gamers that don't want to deal with the PC. Even though PC has been getting a lot of steam.
A lot.
Gaining
and it's
a lot of steam.
A lot easier than it used to be. I remember being a PC gamer in the 90s and the early 2000s. It was a pain in the neck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And some people still think of it like that. Yep. I think people are just now starting to come around to the idea that it's not actually that difficult or that expensive anymore to get a decent PC that can run all the games.
Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with all the YouTube channels making it so obvious of how you can actually make this stuff, and kind of the whole culture has been building around that with all these channels that have been happening. It's been helping with that anyways. We are running into hour 10 into the show, and we haven't talked about Riot Games.
We haven't.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
We could do it. Do you want to do it quickly? Because none of us have played it.
Right.
So for the 10th anniversary of League of Legends being a thing, Riot was like, here's 7 billion games we're making. So the games that they're making an FPS that is like, they've described it as a tactical class-based shooter. So a lot of people, of course, thought, oh, Overwatch. But they actually say that it's closer to CSGO or Siege in terms of the gameplay, but you have classes. So that's like really early development. Someone from Bungie, actually, who was a producer at Bungie, went and is now working on that game. So that's exciting because, of course, Bungie does really good stuff with their FPS games.
Yep.
So hopefully they can bring some magic to make the gunplay feel really good. There's also a card game called Legends of Runeterra. And this seems to be wanting to capture more of like a Magic type playing of card games than Hearthstone. Hearthstone is like very easy to get into. There's not a whole lot to learn, whereas Magic is a little bit more complicated. And Legends of Runeterra is kind of similar in that there's more things to do. There's more things you have to think about. Yeah, so people have actually been able to play that. That was in beta over this past weekend. So there's been streams on it and people have been able to play it at home. So if you do want to check out what that looks like, you can find some kind of VOD from somebody who has played it. But it seems interesting. The other one they're making is a fighting game.
Yeah. This was a weird one.
Hey, honestly, though, so I've played League of Legends for like 7 years. So seeing League of Legends characters in 3D and like a fighting game thing is actually really cool.
Nice.
So I saw that and I was like, I'm totally down. It seems so. I know someone who goes to Evo and like plays in all those tournaments and stuff for Street Fighter, and he said that the gameplay reminded him of a Street Fighter type. The way that it's the way that it moves, the way that it looks. Yeah. So if they can make a really good fighting game.
They're leaning on like the League of Legends character roster for a lot of these games, right? It's like they're that world, and they're gonna expand that world and that roster into more game types, which is cool.
Which I think it's a very good idea because you have people who already play League of Legends and now they play Teamfight Tactics, and when they see these characters in these other games, they're like, oh well, I sort of know what they do, so maybe I know what their card does in Legends of Runeterra. Maybe I know what kind of moves they have in the fighting game. So you have those people who are interested in those games because they like those characters. But then if you also just make a really good shooter and a really good fighting game, more people will come to it as well.
Absolutely.
So I think it's really smart to just use the same world.
It's a lot like what Blizzard does with Warcraft, right? Is they have, like the World of Warcraft, and they also have, a card game based on Warcraft, and they have a RTS based on Warcraft. Like they spread those around a little bit, and what you do is somebody who maybe got addicted to the RTS. Well, I like this world. Let's go check out the MMO. Yeah. Let's go check out the, what is it? What's League of Legends called? Like, what kind of game is that?
MOBA.
It's a MOBA.
MOBA. They made a MOBA out of World of Warcraft. I'm going to go buy that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you have the synergy character, right, that's what kind of gets you in there, right? It's a similar thing to like with Nintendo. It's like, they've got Smash Brothers, like, oh, I'm going to go there because I like Mario, or like, I like this character. You got Mario Kart and all these things like that, right? So, I mean, that's exactly as that kind of point. You might not be a big fighting game player, but if you've been playing League for like 6-10 years and you're like, this character's my favorite and I get to use him in the fighting game, you're probably going to do it because you want to be like, I want to fight these two characters. So
you're at least going to be curious, right?
Yeah.
To try it out. And then you might get hooked.
Yeah,
MOBA curious.
MOBA curious. Oh my god.
And they had another game called Project F, which is an open world game.
Wow.
I think that's where we saw
world.
Blitzcrank like slamming the ground or something. I think that's what that was.
The sort of isometric like Diablo style camera, right?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So they're kind of just coming out with everything but a battle royale.
So they finally earned in that S
Yeah.
Riot Games.
instead of Riot Game.
Officially.
Now we call it Riot Games.
Yeah, this is
It
fascinating.
was crazy. It was crazy. It was just like 10th year anniversary is coming up, guys. And, we're thinking there's going to be in-game events and there's going to be new skins and stuff in this big celebration. And it's like, here's all these games that we're releasing.
A giant roadmap to become the new Blizzard.
Basically, yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, they like each one of these projects is pretty interesting. They announced 8 of them. Or 7 or 8
animated series as well. I mean, that's obviously
animated series. Yeah, they're doing an animated series.
Yeah.
Yeah, which would be cool because their studio for that is always like really good anyway. But yeah, I think it's interesting because they said afterwards as well, they said we're probably gonna go dark for a little while because a lot of them obviously very early in stages. So I wonder whether they're prepping a lot of these for like next gen kind of. I don't know whether they be consoles or whether they be like PC, but I wonder whether they're thinking to kind of like line up with that. That could be kind of cool. But yeah, they all look very, for me, definitely the fighting game and the kind of open world isometric sort of ARPG style one are the ones that jump out the most to me.
Crap. I just realized.
What?
What's that?
Gonna have another installer to have to manage these games.
No.
The Riot Games installer.
To go to Twitter.
Oh my god!
Well, I just deleted the Blizzard one, so I'm good there.
Yeah,
I got room for
I
one
guess
more.
it's a 1-to-1 transition, but
Yeah.
new two-factor authentication, new password, and all this stuff.
I actually just literally did that like a day ago. I was deleted Destiny 2 because I had 2 copies of Destiny 2 on my computer. Like it kind of
That's chunky too.
Yeah, it's a little big boy. SSDs are expensive.
Yes, they are. The good ones, anyways. The good ones are expensive.
And this will segue into DCP plays League of Legends because everyone will have the launcher. And I'll be like, guys, it's free. Let's,
I'll do it, Watts. I'm going to warn you, though. It ain't going to be pretty. Be a lot of yelling on your side.
I played League once back in 2015, I think. 2014 or 2015. Friend tried to convince me to get into it. I played one game.
Yeah.
And you
I played Heroes of the Storm a little bit and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I played for a bit. Believe it or not, I also played Wukong. There's a theme here. I played top lane Wukong for a little bit.
Eric's likes Wukong a lot.
I do. If a game has Wukong, I'm 100% there. There's actually a really rubbish-looking PS4 game that has Wukong as a character, which I'm considering trying out at some point.
You're like, add it to the list.
This is funny, too, because it all really wraps around because League of Legends is based on World of Warcraft 3.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because
right.
of MOBA.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Which is a Blizzard game.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I know this is going to be really quick, guys. I know we're getting late. I had to talk about Medal of Honor, though. We kind of missed this.
Okay, yeah.
Medal of Honor, this is such a bizarre thing because Respawn is making Medal of Honor, right? Which is going to be a new VR shooter. We'll see if it's any good. It sounds like a little bit pie in the sky to me, even though I like VR. But what's crazy is the Medal of Honor is what the founders of Infinity Ward were working on at EA before they left EA to make the Call of Duty series as Infinity Ward.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
Right? So isn't this a bizarre thing? Is they kind of founded like the modern, military shooter with those old Medal of Honor games, which if you remember were based in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
like they were heavily World War II shooters. They were making those for EA. They didn't like working for EA, so they left. They formed Infinity Ward, started working on Call of Duty for Activision, didn't get paid by Activision, got booted, big lawsuit, formed Respawn, and now they're back to making Medal of Honor.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
Fascinating turn of events.
It is. And now they're making Medal of Honor into like a virtual reality shooter, which, if you think about it, Medal of Honor in its original form was really a revolutionary game or a revolutionary series because it really kind of made it form the military shooter of a genre that, was like that fast action, genre that, Call of Duty became famous for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Now you're going to see it in VR.
Cool. Interesting.
We'll see.
Could give you PTSD.
Are you excited about getting PTSD from VR?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no PTSD better than VR PTSD.
There you go.
Is it even real?
Are you discounting my PTSD?
Briar,
You're in the real world right now.
Do you have discount PTSD?
I have virtual PTSD, which is just as bad.
Almost the same.
People die through your own eyes.
You wouldn't believe the things I've seen in that headset.
Oh man, I think that's the show, guys. That's the side.
Yeah,
quest.
let's call it.
I think so.
It's a good episode.
That's a good one. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
was a lot of fun.
Thank you very
Good fun.
Thank you very much for watching, guys. Appreciate all the support. Shout out to our Patreons, to our subs on Twitch, to everybody watching on YouTube and listening on the podcast through various distribution RSS feeds, Podbean, Pod this, Pod that,
PodQuest. I believe is the new
questions, all the stuff. So thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate all the support. If you want to find more of me, you can talk to me at Teft on Twitter and catch my streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft.
I am Miss 5000 Watts. You can find more of me, Miss 5000 Watts. Just look for me on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. You should find me playing weird games in November.
Yes.
I'm going to be petting the baby. Make sure the
Sherpa.
baby's not mad.
Whoa.
Baby getting pissed.
I also forgot to mention, especially before going out, I met a SideQuest viewer at EGX this weekend, which is the UK.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it was cool.
That's awesome.
Shout out to everyone out there. But yeah, you can find me over on Twitter, Arix, YouTube, Arix. This week is a mixture of Borderlands stuff because obviously the spooky Halloween event is this week. So get some of that.
When does it start, actually? What's the day that starts?
Thursday, 24th.
Ooh. That and then Outer Worlds.
I started this week.
Tefty's like,
Yeah.
Tefty's like, I'm going to have to miss the podcast.
Be sick from the Borderlands flu.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me on Twitter. Just look for or tweet me at the Briar Rabbit. Also, my wife just brought home a bunch of Halloween candy, so I'll be in the Halloween candy bowl.
Trick-or-treating?
No, we're gonna have trick or treaters. We're gonna give away the Halloween.
But where
candy.
did the candy come from?
Trick-or-treating.
Where did she get the candy? Was she trick or treating?
I don't know. That's a good question.
She's getting in there
question.
early to get all the candy before all the kids show up. Smart. Briar is now eating candy for anyone that's listening.
That's great. All right. Well, that's the show, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
We'll see you for another one soon. Bye.
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 Wait. Shoot. I don't have a thing for this. My screen. There we go.